Thank you for viewing this Liquid Machines presentation. The Liquid Machines Gateway for SharePoint extends the Information Rights Management, or IRM framework, built directly into Microsoft Office SharePoint Services 2007. SharePoint allows organizations to automatically protect Office documents when they're removed from SharePoint document libraries or lists. Using the Liquid Machines Gateway for SharePoint, organizations can add IRM protection to PDFs, Visio files, graphics formats like JPEGs, GIFs, bitmaps, and over 400 other file types, in addition to Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. SharePoint provides a collaborative platform which allows teams to securely create, edit, and share information. Liquid Machines dramatically expands support for collaborative workflows by allowing content protected by SharePoint to move naturally between users, documents, and applications without requiring them to be checked back in. This allows users to work normally with protected content. Let's take a look at how the Liquid Machines Gateway for SharePoint supports a collaborative workflow. A Microsoft Office SharePoint library might have multiple groups and users, each with their unique set of permissions already defined in a SharePoint library. When those library documents are checked out of SharePoint, the Liquid Machines Gateway automatically protects them using the Microsoft RMS server, which applies information rights management protections to the document. Those protected documents can now be shared amongst an authorized group of users without having to check those documents back into SharePoint. Authorized users outside of the network firewall can also be part of the collaborative process. However, if encrypted files get into the hands of unauthorized users, they remain inaccessible. When it's time for files to be returned to SharePoint, the Liquid Machines Gateway decrypts the file and returns it to the SharePoint library, maintaining the index and searchability of the document. As we can see in this example SharePoint site Project Alpha, SharePoint site owners can leverage existing SharePoint permission levels for each document library. As we go into people and groups, we can see that by default, users like Mary, who's a library member and has the contribute permission level, can access and upload changes to documents. Vigo, who had read permissions, can view but not upload changes to documents, and site owners like Owen and the SharePoint Gateway itself have full control and so have full access to documents in the library. At this point, however, IRM is not yet enabled. This means that once a document is removed from SharePoint, users can do whatever they want to the content and share it with anyone. You have no protection outside of SharePoint. New to Microsoft Office SharePoint Services 2007 is an integrated information rights management framework that allows you to extend protection outside of SharePoint using Microsoft's IRM or Microsoft's Rights Management Services. When IRM is enabled, the SharePoint permission levels will be translated to the corresponding IRM permissions. Site owners will retain full IRM control. Site members will still have read and edit permissions, but now these permissions will be enforced outside of SharePoint. Likewise, site visitors' read IRM permissions will now be enforced when documents are removed from SharePoint. In addition to extending the previously defined SharePoint permission levels, IRM allows you to define additional permissions, which will apply to all list or library users except for owners, who retain full control. Here, the user Owen downloads a Visio diagram containing a proposed org chart for a new division. He saves it to his local desktop and opens it with Visio. As you can see, SharePoint has automatically applied the Project Alpha policy to this document. And in addition to Owen, who has full rights, Vigo is also listed with read rights, Mary is listed as being able to change the document, and all users can print and access content programmatically, as defined previously with SharePoint permissions. In this case, Owen wants to include this org chart in a PowerPoint presentation that's also on his local machine. It's currently unprotected. He can copy or even embed content from the protected Visio diagram and securely paste it into the PowerPoint presentation. The PowerPoint file will then automatically be protected with the same policy as the Visio diagram. This is a great example of how the Liquid Machines client persistently protects RMS protected content after it has been removed from a SharePoint repository. Owen who would like Mary to review his changes, decides to email the presentation to her. Because the Liquid Machines Gateway for SharePoint applied an RMS policy that includes Mary, Owen can quickly share it with her without needing to check it back in, supporting a natural, collaborative workflow that doesn't sacrifice security. Mary, who receives Owen's email, avoids having to download it from SharePoint herself. With Liquid Machines, users are not limited to collaborating via a hub and spoke model, which requires every user to retrieve protected files directly from SharePoint. Now, SharePoint protected documents can play in all types of normal collaborative workflows, enhancing productivity while ensuring that content remains protected. Authorized users can share protected documents using email, USB drives, or even other file shares. Mary can see that she can read, edit, and print, but cannot change or remove permissions from this document. Mary reviews and edits the content, and then converts the presentation into Adobe PDF. The Liquid Machines client automatically transfers the Project Alpha policy to the resulting PDF file. When using the gateway for SharePoint together with the Liquid Machines client, policies persist to PDF without any special user interaction. Similarly, when you copy-paste or save as to another file format, the policy remains in effect. When using the gateway for SharePoint with the Liquid Machines viewer, Liquid Machines extends the IRM framework to protect over 400 file types, including graphics files like JPEGs, bitmaps, and GIFs. Now, Mary returns to the SharePoint project site and opens up the Project Alpha Team Docs library. She uploads the protected PDF file, and on the way in, the Liquid Machines gateway for SharePoint decrypts the file so that it can be indexed and searched. Finally, a third user, this time with visitor permissions, logs onto the Project Alpha SharePoint site and performs a search. Because the Liquid Machines gateway for SharePoint decrypted the file when it was returned to the library, it could be found. The PDF is reprotected before being downloaded for viewing with Adobe Reader. The user sees that he can read and print but cannot modify the file. It can now become part of another offline workflow. Thank you for viewing this Liquid Machines presentation. For more information, visit liquidmachines.com/SharePoint, email us at info@liquidmachines.com, or call 877-88-LIQUID.